It is almost President Biden's birthday, but are voters celebrating? According to a recent poll, 59% of registered voters have major concerns and 15% have moderate concerns over his mental and physical health for a second term. Joining us now to react is our voter panel. Gen Z independent voter Brennan Gorman, Democrat voter and co-owner and CEO of 1918 Catering Jason Brown, and Republican voter Stacey Fox. Brennan, as the independent voter here on our panel, I will ask you, are you concerned about the age of President Joe Biden?
I'm absolutely concerned. You know, he exhibits many issues when it comes to physical and cognitive abilities, but also it's difficult for him to connect with the younger generation. Our electorate is getting younger and younger and younger, and we're electing people who are older and older and older.
Yeah. Although he turns 81 tomorrow, we have to point out as well, President Trump, I believe, is approaching 78. So is it age, for example, Jason, that is a concern? Is it a concern for you, Jason? And is it age, or is it, as Brennan points out, sort of how are you doing at your age?
Actually, how you doing at your age? And for me, it's more so about experience. You know, President Biden brings experience to the position in which we currently don't have any candidate that has exemplified that much experience as Biden has with running the government. So
you're a Democratic voter, Jason. Where are you today with how Joe Biden is doing? I want you to take a look at this. It's record high disapproval for Biden's job performance. 63% of men, 62% of voters under 45, 60% of Hispanic voters, on and on. 41% of black voters disapprove of Joe Biden. How do you feel about our current president?
I feel pretty good about the current state. I do have some concerns, actually, about the economy and where the economy is currently headed. But that's because of the current situation that we've been coming out of with the pandemic and things of that nature there. But right now, my biggest concern is just making sure that the presidency does the correct thing and leads the country in the right way. And that's going to come from somebody with experience.
Somebody with experience. Stacey, you're a self-described Republican voter. Who is it, as you look across the field, speaks to you and your needs as an American?
Well, that's really hard to say because, again, for me, it is not age. It is definitely who is going to lead our country in the right direction, who's going to take care of the border down at the South, who's going to have a strong standing in international affairs. DeSantis seems to be the front runner when it comes to that, but I haven't looked at any other options coming out of the Democratic Party because we haven't been given any. All I do know is not his age, but his mental ability is definitely not something we need for the next 4 years.
Let's go in reverse order now then. So Stacey, you say that you haven't seen any other options coming out of the Democratic Party. What if Joe Biden were replaced? How would you feel about Governor Gavin Newsom of California or Michelle Obama, the former First Lady?
I haven't seen anything that puts them on a stage equal in international affairs and basically local affairs as much as DeSantis. I think Ramaswamy has a good voice. He can connect with the younger voters. I would be willing to take a look and see what they have to say. But we're running pretty late in the game, and they're not putting any other narrative out. All they're saying is we're going to keep Biden in this race, whether or not he's mentally fit. And honestly, he hasn't been a great president. I have kids that are in Arizona, and the amount of fentanyl and drugs that are coming over the border is insane. I work with a lot of international companies, and they really need America to stand up and be the big stick. And I'm not sure Biden can step into that role and do that.
Really quickly, Stacey, you just need to confirm. My audio is a little muffled. I believe you said DeSantis, and I also believe you were talking about international affairs. He's certainly been a successful governor. What about the governor of Florida gives you confidence in his ability to handle international affairs?
I just feel he's played on that line of defense. He's been a soldier. I think he will surround himself with people who have the intelligence and the ability to help him lead in those matters. He's not going to let somebody else run his presidency.
Understood. Jason, then I'm going back around the horn in reverse order to you. I want to ask you that same question, though. Joe Biden is the current sitting president. There are some that wonder whether or not he will be the nominee, though. Does somebody like Gavin Newsom or Michelle Obama appeal to you more than Joe Biden?
Michelle Obama galvanizes the country. She appeals to multiple ethnic groups. She's a polarizing figure. Just suppose that Michelle Obama would bring that same feeling or that the country got when they voted for Donald Trump, meaning that people were able to galvanize because they felt like they knew him. People feel like they know Michelle Obama. They see she's raised a family. She supported a multi-millionaire husband who's been able to not only become the president, but also be a successful businessman outside of his presidency. So the country would love that example of what Michelle Obama could bring to the table.
I do think there's a bit of skepticism about people that become multimillionaires after public service, Jason. I think there might be some questions about how you become a multimillionaire after years as a senator, a state senator, and then a president. But, you know, finally, let's end it here with you, Brennan. I've talked to each of the other panelists here about who appeals to them. They've talked about the role of experience, and they've looked at alternate candidates who aren't even on the ballot yet in Newsom and Obama. How about you? Who satisfies your requirements for president?
I think for me right now, it's a no-brainer. It's Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley brings the experience that we need. She has foreign policy experience. She has so many examples of strengthening economy and education when she was the governor of South Carolina. So for me, it's a no-brainer with her.
All right. Brennan, Jason, Stacey, appreciate you giving me your feedback this morning. Thank you, guys.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.